And welcome back. In this tutorial, I'm going to expand on the explanation of signals and slots with a simple example. So let's get started. I have Komodo Edit up and running, and I'm going to create a new project. And I'm going to go to my projects library, the projects folder. Going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call this project Signals and Slots 2. There's our folder. Signal slots, or signal slots 2, I should say. Add our extension. Okay, there's our project. And I'm going to create a new witty project. And I'm going to go ahead and run CMake. Open up our main.cpp file. And this isn't going to be a witty project itself. I just need access to the Boost library, because Boost is what actually runs, or Boost is actually, well, I take that back. I do need access to the witty library, but I don't need all of this. The only thing I really need is, let's see, witty object, which is the base library for all witty objects, or just about all witty objects, and signals. So there are the two things that you basically need. We need the witty object and we need witty signal. And I'm going to add the standard input-output library so we can print things to the console. And the first thing I want to do is I'm going to create two classes. One is I'm going to call my widget, and the other one is going to be called my slots. The my widget class is not necessarily a witty widget class, but I just use that name so you can understand what's going on. Now this class is going to inherit from witty object. And remember, in order for you to participate in signals and slots, at the very least, excuse me, at the very least, you have to inherit from the witty object class. So in order for us to even think about signals and slots, we have to at least inherit from that class. Then I'm going to create another class called my slots, and it also must inherit from witty object. Now there are cases where you can use just a regular function. You don't have to create a full-fledged class to run slots, because again, I said slots are nothing but functions. They can be regular functions, they can be function objects, they can even be member functions. And in this example, I'm going to use a member function. So back to our actual widget. This widget is going to house two signals. Keep on putting this. Now you don't have to do this right here. You can do it like this, or you can do no class. There's something called no class in witty, and again, it's kind of like the my slot macro, or the slot macro. You know, I kind of use that because it helps you to understand what is going on. There's no argument being passed to this particular signal, and this signal takes an integer. You know, this template, this signal takes an integer. And as you can see, the names that I've used is one's going to be a click signal, and one is going to be an enter press signal. So it's kind of mimicking a mouse click and a button press. You know, not really, but this is just to enable you to see what is going on behind the scenes. Now that your Witty object has two signals, I mean, you could have 1, 2, 10, but we have two signals. Now that that class has the signals, let's go ahead and define the slots. And remember, slots are nothing but functions. So in this case, the first signal doesn't have any arguments passed to it, as you can see from the template. So I'm just going to call this button clicked, so you can see that it doesn't take any arguments. And we're going to print out to the screen, you clicked a button. You know, basically we're just mimicking that we actually clicked on a button, and that's it. That's all we're doing. That's what we've been doing all along. We create a class and create a slot or a function, and then we connect it to the signal. But in our case, everything has been all in one class. But in this case, we have two classes. And then the next thing we're going to do is enter pressed. And it takes an integer, and I'm going to call it count. And as you can see, that's going to basically say, okay, for every integer parameter that we pass to our function, or in this case to our signal, that is going to be how many times that we actually press the keyboard button onto the screen. So we're going to create a for loop. Index is less than count, and this is just standard C++. And we're just going to print the message to the screen. You pressed the enter key, and then do a new line. And that's it. I mean, that's basically it. Here's your signals in your class, your widget class, and here's your two corresponding slots, which are nothing but functions. And then if we go to main, and kind of let's collapse these two. Basically in main, just create my widget. I mean, you could do it via pointer or do it by value. In this case, I'm going to do it via pointer. My widget, that's standard C++. Then we're going to create the slots. My slots, just going to call it S. And then basically, just like we've been doing all along, now that we have created an instance of our widget, I'm going to say my widget, clicked dot connect, and in this case I'm going to use the boost bind implementation, and then take the address of the member function, my slots, button click, because remember this one does not take any arguments, and then we're going to connect another signal to a slot, my widget, let's see, enter press dot connect, boost bind, my slots, enter pressed. And in this case, actually I made a mistake here. We added the member function and the actual object that it belongs to, which in this case is S. That's the slot. Same thing here. There's the slot. And in this case, because it takes an additional parameter, here's the placeholder. Now if we had another placeholder, if we had two parameters in our function, it would be number 2. If we had 3, it'd be 3, and so on and so forth. But in this case, we just have one. So we're just going to do one. And then that's it. So you have your member function, the address of the member function, the object that it belongs to, and then the placeholder of where the parameter will be passed. And then once you do that, we can mimic a click. So there's your click. It's just like you clicked on a button. And we're going to mimic a button press. We're going to press it 5 times. Oh, made a lot of mistakes. Okay, but that's basically it. You're passing in that integer into your signal, and that gets passed to your slot. Basically, it gets emitted. So when you call the signal, it automatically calls the slots that are connected to that signal. So if we save that and then compile it, make sure I did everything. Oh, hold on. I actually did, and I know some people don't like that you qualify the namespace, or that I actually add the namespace. Let's try it again. Let's see. What did I do wrong here? Oh, I already know. I didn't put a semicolon at the end of my class. Alright. Wow, getting a lot of errors here. Oh, I already know. Oh, let's look at it again. Find button click. My slots button click. Clicked. I apologize. I really do apologize. Button clicked. Let's try this one more time. This should work. Go. It's compiling. All right, there we are. And I know I made a lot of mistakes. This is real world, real time. And if we run this, we don't have to run the Witty server because we're using Boost. If we run it, as you can see, we connected our signal and our slot and the object that it's connected to. Did one with the parameter, and then we just called the signal. As you can see, you click the button. As you can see, we passed in a parameter of 5, and it printed it out on the console 5 times. So that's basically all you have to do. You know, that's showing you what's going on behind the scenes. Basically, you have a widget class, or I call it a widget, it could be called anything, a class that inherits from the Witty object. In order for you to participate in signals and slots, we created another class called MySlots, and it again inherits from the Witty object. We added 2 signals to this class. I mean, we could do it as one class if we wanted to. And then we had 2 corresponding slots or functions that one took no parameter, and you don't have to add this. It could look like this if you want to, but I just chose to add that to show you that that's possible. And then we had another one that takes an integer, and you pass an integer to your function, and then you just pass it to the corresponding signal. When it gets called, it passes that on to the slot. And that's basically, you know, what is going on behind the scenes with signals and slots. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.